Hello everyone, welcome back to Military TV. In this episode, we're going to talk about how the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict is ushering in a new age of warfare. The risk of military conflict is escalating in Nagorno-Karabakh, the border region claimed by both Armenia and Azerbaijan due to the failure of mediation efforts, increased militarization, and frequent ceasefire violations. In late September 2020, heavy fighting broke out along the border, the most serious escalation since 2016. More than 300 soldiers and civilians have been killed, with hundreds more wounded on both sides. Although UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, the UN Security Council, and countries like the United States and Russia have called for an end to hostilities, Armenia and Azerbaijan have rejected pressure to hold talks. Instead, they have pledged to continue fighting and have further escalated tensions by switching from cross-border shelling to the use of longer-range artillery and other heavy weaponry. The conflict between the two countries is a serious concern, considering that during the battle there were 20,000 to 30,000 casualties. Relations between the two countries were strained after the 1994 ceasefire until serious fighting in April 2016, which claimed dozens of lives. The country has a defense and mutual assistance pact with its neighbor and ally Turkey. Extensive joint exercises were held in late July and early August with, according to Azerbaijan, as many as 11,000 Turkish troops taking part, with units training alongside each other. Turkish Air Force fighter jets, armed drones, and long-range artillery trained alongside the Azerbaijani armed forces. The exercises were run just after a bloody clash between the two enemies in early July, lasting several days in which drone warfare was prominent. The big question arose, what is the drone's role in the conflict? We know the drones are playing a big role in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Israeli, Turkish, Russian, and locally produced drones and loitering munitions figure in the conflict and account for most losses, especially by Armenia, which has lost armored vehicles, multiple rocket launchers, and air defense platforms. Azerbaijan has admitted using Turkish-manufactured armed drones in clashes against Armenian forces in Nagorno-Karabakh, acknowledging it for the first time since the conflict was reignited. In a televised interview with the Turkish news channel TRT Haber, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev said, "Thanks to advanced Turkish drones owned by the Azerbaijan military, our casualties on the front shrunk." He praised the efficiency of the drones, stating, "These drones show Turkey's strength. It also empowers us."
Of course, they are very modern, sophisticated weapons, and I can tell you only by the drones which we acquired from Turkey, we destroyed Armenian military equipment worth $1 billion.
Turkish-made drones operated by Azerbaijani forces are in the forefront of Azerbaijan's fight to reclaim the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh enclave from ethnic Armenian control. Turkey has vowed support for Azerbaijan in the escalating conflict. Defense analyst Arda Mevletoğlu said the conflict underscores Turkey's growing reputation as a major drone player. Turkey has accumulated a large amount of experience and infrastructure to integrate, design, and manufacture such advanced drones. Not maybe as sophisticated as the United States, but surely being able to compete with Chinese drones. Turkish drones are rapidly gaining technology advantage. Drones are now an integral part of what analysts call Ankara's hard-power diplomacy, according to Sinan Ulgan of the Istanbul-based Center for Economics and Foreign Policy Studies. Armed drones' electronic war systems have helped Turkey to carry out a more hard-power-oriented foreign and security policy. Because what it did is it essentially allowed Turkey to rely on its technological edge, which is now allowing Turkey to engage in this cross-border power projection and reliance on hard power much more than in the past. Turkey recently unveiled what it claims is its most powerful drone to date. Drones appear set to remain not only a vital military asset, but also a key foreign policy tool. Besides Turkey, Israel, also a major drone exporter, has been supplying the Azeri armed forces with loitering munitions like the Harop, which were used to great effect in the previous major skirmish in 2016, dubbed the Four-Day War. This is a new class of munition which is essentially a kamikaze or suicide UAV. A combination of bomb and drone, it loiters over the battlefield, its remote operator searching for targets. Once found, the drone is flown into the target, destroying both itself and the target. The Harop or Harpy could be heard due to its engine, but newer models of the kamikaze UAV, like the Sky Striker and Orbiter 1K, recently supplied by Israel to Azerbaijan, use electric motors and are virtually silent until they start their attack dive. More recently, Azerbaijan has bought the operationally successful Bayraktar TB2 from Turkey and has used them with great success. Cheap and effective, they have more advanced optics, sensors, and can return to base, swiftly refuel, rearm, and be back in the air again, hovering over the battlefield looking for fresh targets. Drones have one more important effect: their cameras. Filming the destruction of a target in clear, unwavering high-definition video allow a country to dominate the propaganda narrative. Media outlets were saturated with images of Armenian armor and artillery being effortlessly destroyed, not the other way around. Despite Azerbaijani losses, the Armenian armed forces, for the most part, did not have cameras trained on their intended targets. These images have enhanced Azerbaijan's sense of success on the battlefield, presenting an image of near-total Azerbaijani victory. Besides drones, what is the important part of another modern battle space? Certainly sensors and long-range attacks. It is not just the use of drones that has been so decisive. The modern battle space is filling up with sensors, making it far easier to spot an adversary from far off. Drones, armed or not, are effectively sensor platforms, feeding vital information about the enemy's movements back to command centers. This, coupled with ground detection radar, which is able to pick up moving or concealed tanks and armored vehicles day or night, means that it is now increasingly hard to hide on the battlefield. With movement and therefore tactics detected, long-range artillery and air raids are brought to bear, often with devastating results. Turkey used this successfully in northern Syria, and these lessons have clearly been passed on to the Azerbaijanis in their recent joint exercises. These tactics have been so effective that many commentators have openly talked about the demise of the tank as an effective instrument of warfare. There is no doubt that tactics will have to change in order for it to survive. Electronic jamming of radar and drone signals to counter the enemy sensors, effectively blinding them, and sending in tanks with adequate air defense are two potential changes. And the last part of another modern battle space is long-range attacks. While long-range artillery and air attacks have been around for over a century, their increasing accuracy is something that militaries are only now coming to grips with. Combined with the clouds of sensors saturating the battlefield, these new systems have the ability to travel further with pinpoint accuracy, no longer needing to blanket an area with warheads in order to guarantee destruction of a target. They are now able to find and destroy a target sometimes hundreds of kilometers away. Azerbaijan, despite falling oil revenues, has invested heavily in these systems, buying Israeli LORA ballistic missiles that have a range of up to 250 miles and an accuracy of 10 meters. These, as well as other long-range attack weapons, were part of a $5 billion military and security equipment deal signed between the two countries in 2016. Azerbaijan is considered a strategic partner of Israel, supplying it with nearly 40% of its oil. With allies such as Israel, Turkey, and to a certain extent Russia, Azerbaijan has had no problems buying modern weapons in order to settle the score with its neighbor and bitter rival Armenia. Russia is in an awkward position, as it has a base in Armenia, but has supplied weapons to both countries, both ex-Soviet republics. Azerbaijan's larger military, now heavily armed and trained by Turkey in the effective use of these systems, has given it an edge which it seeks to use to secure victory on the battlefield and leverage the return of areas it sees as Azerbaijani, lost in the last war. Training is key, as it is the fusion of these system sensors to give them unblinking eyes across the entire battle space, long-range weapons to give them serious reach once targets have been detected, and drones to accomplish both and destroy targets near instantly have given the Azerbaijani armed forces a clear edge in this current conflict. The preference for drones, sensors, and long-range attack weapons is what will end up defining success on the modern battlefield. That's all for today. If you have a great article to be discussed about military, you can contact us by email. Thanks for watching.